2026 NFL team previews, starting with the NFC North. I'm your host, Joe Carlton, and I am here with the fellas, Joey Brown, Dan Jewett, Josh Bolin, and Mike Gamberg. Well, actually, Dan's not with us yet, but he may be joining late. He had family obligations, cheerleading practice, and whatnot. So if he shows up, we'll bring him in. If not, you got the four of us. Tonight we will break down the NFC North and evaluate all of the offenses and the fantasy relevant players from each team. Please like, subscribe, and share. Drop all your comments and questions in the chat. And here we go. All right, what's up, fellas?
Hey.
Not much. What's going on?
Not much. Looking forward to breaking down the black and blue division tonight. I don't know when we decided which division we're going to pick first. I just decided a lot of fireworks in this division, so we'll go with that first. Dan is here. He just brought himself on stage. I love it. What's up, Dan?
I just got done chauffeuring the kids around.
Nice. Glad you could make it. And yeah, I wouldn't even consider you late because we didn't start yet. So, yeah, you ain't missed anything.
Nice.
All right. So before we get into which, going team by team, I want to know who do you guys think is going to win this division? I'll kick it over. We'll go right in order. That way, actually. I'll kick it right over to you, Josh. You can give us you start us out here. How do you see this division playing out?
Well, I'm gonna go with the Lions. I think that basically, other than Montgomery, they've got everybody returning. It's hard for me to bet against Dan Campbell. They've got such a good thing going there. So that's who I favor. But I think that there's three teams that could go for it. So, but I'm gonna lean Lions. Bounce
back season with the friendly schedule. They have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL this year. Dan, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I lean the Lions. He talked about a little bit. I mean, the Bears with their offensive line, the weapons they have, they could be a contender. Packers, they're always going to be right there. I even think the Vikings. Josh, don't roll your eyes at my Kyler Murray, but they could even surprise some people. But I think the Lions are probably the betting favorites without looking. I should have looked before I got here, but that's where my money would be. Dan Campbell, he's going to lead those guys. Jared Goff, he's the veteran, and they got some great weapons and probably one of the best two fantasy players in the league right now.
Nice. Joey?
I got a Green Bay hat on, but I'm going Chicago. I think Caleb makes the extra leap. I think coming off and Ben Johnson's second year offense, he looked like the part of the playoffs. It could go anyway. I'm like, Dan, there's three teams, 4 teams. It's just a fancy go division. So I'm gonna go Chicago. I think they got playmakers. Loveland steps up. Caleb takes his game to the next level, and second year with Ben Johnson. So I'm going Bears.
Nice. I like it. I like the Bears myself, but we'll go to Mike before I chime in my thoughts. Right, Mike.
I also like the Lions this year. I mean, the Lions, were injury riddled last year, especially the offensive line. They were going, with third stringers at one point. I think they get that intact with like Josh mentioned, the schedule's pretty easy if you look at it, especially early on. They can get off to a fast start where their other the other division rivals are they get a much tougher schedule. I think Detroit will come back to the top.
Nice. All right, so I agree with Joey. I lean slightly with Chicago. It could be a homer pick because Chicago's always been my favorite team in that division. Not that I don't like. I really like the Lions too. I think they're very fantasy friendly schedule this year, especially in the shootout. With the indoor games with Jared Goff, it's easy. In how late he goes in drafts, it's pretty easy to get like a good Lions stack correlation going. But yeah, I lean the Bears for the same reasons Joe mentioned. You get year 3 Caleb Williams, another year Ben Johnson in there. I think shout out to Jim Coventry. He posted a great video about the Bears today, and he mentioned how they drafted a tight end and they could be shifting to more 12 and 13 personnel and running the ball some more. I think, just to make Caleb Williams' pass attempts be more efficient, I guess. It all makes sense to me. You got Monangai. He's a great grind and running back. He can absorb a ton of carries if necessary. DeAndre Swift. You got 2 great players out of the backfield. Swift can be used as a pass catcher as well. Colston Loveland looked like he was about to be the next Rob Gronkowski, for Christ's sakes. Before he's going into the second year. You got Odunze back healthy, and supposedly big plans for Luther Burden. So I just think that this offense can be real special. I think the defense is good enough, especially at home. They're a tough out at home, especially later in the year. It gets tough. It gets colder, and the element becomes more of a factor. And seems like the home field advantage goes up just a little bit for Chicago as the season goes on. So if it's going to come down to the last few weeks, I think it's Bears. It's going to be real close either way, but I think it's the Bears. So, yeah.
Tough division.
So I got the between DraftKings, BetMGM, and FanDuel, they've got the Lions favored plus 150 to plus 175 to win it. And then second, they've got the Packers anywhere from plus 195 to plus 250. Wow. Bears at number 3, and the Bears odds are really tight, plus 325 to plus 333, and then the long shot is the Vikings at plus 550. One big thing, the Bears, I think they've got a top 4 offensive line, and then if they do run that 12 and 13 personnel a lot, that's a big front. That's going to be. I said something the other night. That's really kind of going to be an interesting thing to watch. What teams are able to capitalize and what teams really run that type of personnel a lot this year.
Yeah, like Jim Coven, his video today, he talked about how the Rams from week 8 on used it 40 to 50% of the snaps. Used 12 and 13 personnel. So it allows you to kind of manipulate the defense. If the defense wants to come up, then you attack deep. If the defense wants to play it conservative, then you can, your yards per carry is probably going to be pretty good. So, it's definitely. I think it's going to help Caleb Williams if they run more of this, because he had a lot of downfield targets last year, but like the passable catch rate was still only around 64%. I think they want to get, his completion percentage was fairly low for how successful he was, and he still hasn't hit, they still haven't hit 4,000 yards passing. So I think that they want to make his passing attempt, his efficiency in passing attempts, catchable passes and stuff like that a lot easier. So. And I'm looking at the schedule here. If it does come down to that Week 17 matchup against Detroit, Chicago-Detroit, the game is in Chicago. So that is something to think about there. But, all right. So since we're talking about Chicago, we'll start off with them. Josh, I'll kick it over to you. Yeah, you can get us started. Give us your thoughts, now that we know the 12 personnel stuff, but run through the fantasy relevant players and give us a few thoughts on each one for us.
So we got Colston Loveland. He's the first Bear going off the board, I believe. He's been going right there in round 4, at least the last couple drafts I've seen. I don't have the ADP board pulled up, but I think he's been going right there. I got it. Yeah,
last week,
round 4, 5.
Yeah, last week he's ADP 48 in the last week on NFFC.
Okay. I think maybe even slid a little later than that in a couple of them, but
he's got a max pick of 60.
Yes, yeah, so that's Joey. Yep. So I'm not real big on the early tight end, but seeing Colston Loveland at the back of the 4th round or in the 5th round, that's a tough one to pass on, depending on how your build's going. Then you got Luther Burden, and Roma Dunze. That's kind of a hot button thing, like with the Jaguars receivers, which one's going to be the one to get. Me and Dan have been going Odunze. We've got him a couple times because of where he's going. I feel like it's really good value. I think Dan does too.
There's a 20 pick gap between Burden and Odunze.
Yeah, and there's risk there because we haven't got to see how Odunze runs and everything now that he's healed up, and the way that he talked was, it's not that he's 100%, it's that he's as healthy as he's going to get with the way that, however that injury was, that it healed. So, but with where he was going in the drafts we got him in, I feel completely comfortable with taking him there.
Nice. Dan, why don't you give us some thoughts on the Chicago Bears offense for fantasy?
Yeah, just to follow up with what Josh said, Odunze, we've discussed. We grabbed him in our first 2 drafts, Josh. I think we got him in the 6th, which I really felt like was good value. But then we also talked about maybe lowering our exposure a little bit. The new normal, when they said that about his foot, makes me a little bit nervous. But I like where Odunze is going there. I don't see myself personally having any Luther Burden where he's going. I just think he's too high. I think you guys are all right. I've been listening to Joey and Josh beat Colston Loveland into my head for the last few weeks, and I'm coming around. That end of the 4th value on Colston Loveland, and I was listening to Jim earlier today too, which was a great I only got probably 20 minutes, but it was a great segment. There's a scenario, there's a greater than 1% chance that Colston Loveland's the number 1 tight end at the end of the year. And to get him in the 4th round, and you have to spend a second to get Brock Bowers, and no diss against Brock Bowers, but Colston Loveland could break fantasy tight ends this year. So really interesting there. What I find interesting is we've got Colston going to the 4th, Burden's going 3-4, and say Odunze's going 5-6. But Caleb, without looking, is like the 12th or 13th quarterback off the board. To me, if those 3 guys are the top 4 rounds, I think Caleb should be a little bit higher. And I have my doubts about Caleb too. I'm not the biggest Caleb fan, but if we believe in those 3 weapons, then then yeah, he should be higher. But I think my favorite Bear to draft, and Josh knows this too much, is I love where Monungai is going. I think he's got a really good chance of taking that job by midseason. If nothing else, he's got standalone value because he's going to be the quorum of that team. He's going to get 35-40% with a healthy Swift. And if they get a banged up Swift, he's a top 15 running back in my eyes. So really like Monungai. We've been taking him as like our RB3, RB4 for some depth there. And one more I'll throw out is the Bears defense. Nothing to write home about, but the first 2 weeks they play Bryce Young and Kyler Murray or J.J. McCarthy. So I'm a streaming defense kind of guy. So there's two in this division that I've been taking for those 2 weeks. Josh, don't roll your damn eyes at me on that one. I know you don't like it.
I like
matchups.
It's not that. It's not that I don't like that. I was just
the Bears defense isn't. They're not like a smothering defense, but they have playmakers. So turnovers are possible and touchdowns are possible. So yeah.
I play fantasy defense backwards than a lot of people. I'm more concerned about that other quarterback. And when I see Kyler Murray and Bryce Young, I don't care if it's the Bengals defense. I might roll them out there.
Nice. Yeah. Joey, talk to us about the Bears, man.
Well, I mean, these guys, y'all have you summed it up perfect. I mean, but I've been on Doomsday from day one. So I like Burden, and I like Monungai, like Dan said. I mean, Caleb. Sometimes it's best just draft a quarterback, not try to hook it up. But you know, the unique thing about the Bears, I've said this long before. You could have, who knows who could win this whole thing in these overall tournaments. Somebody may have Loveland, Caleb, Caleb Burden, or Caleb Odunze. You got three different options, or even with Swift or something too. So there's more hookup chances if you do draft Caleb. But I've been on Doomsday. He was top 3 or 5 wide receiver for the injury last year, and I know he's going to be cheaper because new shiny toy with Burden, and he come on. But I like Loving better than any of them, though. I just think he's a difference maker. He played good down the stretch. I think I like Loving on Doomsday the best out of every one of them. Swift's still good too. I mean, you can't knock him. They try to run the Detroit, the Gibbs and the Montgomery. So both of them's gonna have, like Dan said, Monungai's got standalone value anyway. So they're gonna have plenty of run. Ben Johnson tries to run that same system with his running backs. So it's fantasy golden with the Bears, just like the rest of these teams that we're talking about.
Nice. All right, Mike, you have anything to add?
I mean, I like Loveland. That's basically I have one share. I got one share of Swift, one share of Monungai. I think certain places their fits on my team. I haven't drafted, and Dan made a good point. I haven't drafted any Burden, and I even haven't drafted a Doomsday. I would have drafted Doomsday because you probably get him. If I could get him a round later, probably than he's going, I'd probably be interested. I just don't like this type of team where besides Loveland, I think who's going to get the ball. He's that dynamic. Dan, spoke on that. I don't like that. It's so unpredictable. I don't need the up and down. There's one football. So what are there? That's what I have. I would look to get Love. Love wouldn't be the guy I'll have the most of the Bears, and it's only one share right now. It's maybe it's 9%. So I got 9% of, and one. I just think it's a tough choice. I mean, if I knew so and so's gonna get her, I don't. And they're drafting, especially Burton. He's drafted. You got to take him. He's third round now, right? He's going.
Yeah, Luther Burton is 36. Yeah.
He's 36. I wouldn't touch him at 36.
Yeah, I agree. He's one of my.
I don't have 50 teams. I have enough teams, but I don't have 6. If I had, that many teams, yeah, sure, you're going to get a share of mostly everybody in the fantasy, probably, just to have. But I have no interest in the wide receivers at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Mike. I do have an Adunze share. Um, I like him as a
That's not
wide.
bad because it's the
Yeah,
cheaper of the two. And also, I
yeah,
do one thing with Loveland. I did pair him with Williams. I think
yeah.
that's if I'm doing
So did
that
I.
once
So
year,
did
I'm
I.
looking. I think that's a good move, especially in the tournament format. You want
The,
that
the,
leverage, really.
the team that I have a Dunze, I didn't stack, but with the team where I do have Loveland, I did stack Caleb Williams. I also grabbed DeAndre Swift. So I think that's probably the most optimal stack. I mean, the only other argument would be Monangai, Loveland with Caleb
Yeah, Swift
Williams.
catches passes at the right now. He's a pass. He's
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. Obviously game scripts
If
are
you go
gonna
Williams, it does make sense.
determine which running back gets more touches each game. But like Dan said, I do think they plan on getting Monangai more involved, especially as the year goes on. And if they're going to run 12 and 13 personnel, like Monangai is the guy that makes out, and Colston Loveland, if you ask me. Colston Loveland is safe. That means he's never coming off the field. We do know that if they do run 12 and 13 personnel, that means receivers are coming off the field. So now, if they do 13 personnel, that's a one wide receiver set. Is it going to be Luther Burden, or is it going to be Roma Dunze, or are they going to eat into each other? So, I'm with you, Mike. The wide receivers are a lot more volatile of a pick. Dunze obviously cheaper than Luther Burden, but Luther Burden is a complete fade for me. I'm with Dan and Josh. He's just too high. Third round. Early third round in some drafts too. He's gone as early as pick 27, and in the latest he's fallen is 44. Even 44 is not late enough for me to take a chance on him. But Caleb Williams, Colston Loveland are my favorite targets in this offense. I really like DeAndre Swift as an RB2. I'm not taking, he's going in his ADP in the last week in the high stakes streets is at pick 58. He's gone as early as 49, and he's fallen as far as 66. So it's pretty consistently, in the mid 50s range. I like him there if you're taking him as an RB2, pairing him with like a Bijan and a Gibbs or a Chase Brown. Zero RB, I'm probably skipping out on him. I don't think I want to have him as an RB1. I think he packs more punch for your build as an RB2. So I just wanted to add that on Swift. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'm summing up this offense. I mean, I think Caleb Williams has top 5 potential. I still think he gives up. He's going to scamper around and give us about 30 or 40 rushing yards a game as well. So I don't think that goes away. But yeah, all right. So what team you guys want to do next? Detroit. We'll do Detroit next, and I'll start with Mike this time, so he can. He went last, so we'll go first. We'll go reverse. So go ahead, Mike. Give us some thoughts on.
Obviously, Gibbs to me. If I have the number one, I'm definitely taking him. I think he's going to have a monster year, especially with the offensive line. More intact, I would assume. It can't be less intact. It's got to at least going into the season. Love St. Brown. And I really like Laporta where he's going. I think Laporta's coming back if he's worth a shot where you can get him. He's probably my premium. He's probably my highest owned tight end at the moment. But you get him in the 10th round, 9th, 10th round. It's for certain builds. It's working out pretty good. One guy just took a share the other night. I did pair him with Mont St. Brown. Is Williams. I mean,
Jameson
I got him. I didn't reach for him it fell in my first share, and I think it's perfect to pair. If you can pair those two together, that could be powerful. Sure, he's volatile, but we're in terms, if he's my third or fourth wide receiver. In this case, he's my third, but I do have Bowers. One guy took 3 quarterbacks in a row. He took, and I couldn't get Goff. I was kind of shocked. He took Lawrence, and he took Dart, and then he took Goff. But I was okay. I got okay in quarterback. I'll probably get Goff anyway because he's probably going to have to cut one, and that would probably be it. But I think JMO. I mean, look, he got better. He got better last year when they kind of changed around, I guess, and made sure to get him involved. And I think that's going to be important for them winning. He's a big play guy. If they're going to win that division, he's going to have to perform on a more consistent basis. They're going to have to get those big yardage plays out of him, which I'll take a chance on. I'm not looking to get him probably in a lot of teams, but in that case, I think he give me a little juice there. But just lastly, you talk about Gibbs. I mean, Pacheco's terrible. That's the best. He just come in maybe just to give him a so he get a sip of Gatorade on the sideline. He's just bad. So I think Gibbs is. I haven't got the one yet, but that's definitely my one. I hope I get lucky if I get the two. When I'm full like Billy Wazowski had him full the other night though, in the 2 spot. So
nice.
That's not it for me. There's.
All right.
I mean, Lions.
Not some good, but how many times have we seen in the last few years? Have you seen like a number 1 pick and probably a top 5 pick? That's pretty impressive. Amon-Ra and Gibbs going within the first top 6 picks in a fantasy draft. So that's odd. I think the Lions bounced back. You may see 2 teams out of this, or maybe possibly 3 teams out of this division going into playoffs, wild card or something. It's very possible. Jameson Williams, as long as Goff is indoors, he's going to be good for the most part. He's a lot better indoors, and I like the Lions as you all do. Amon-Ra to me is probably one of not the safest pick in the first round. I think he gives you pretty consistent numbers, and I like him a whole lot. And Gibbs, the wide receiver 3 would be interesting there too. I think he'll have some little bit of value, late round flyer.
Tesla.
Yeah, I think you have a little bit of, especially when them wide receivers go down, he's going to give you some value at some point in that offense. But it's a good offense to have. I just think it's interesting, like I said, with Gibbs and Amon-Ra, how high they go. I don't know if I can remember in the last little bit how many from the same team in the top 6 picks in the first round. You all remember any? Or
How about AB and Lev Bell back
probably
maybe 6-7 years ago?
Probably.
That's the only one I can think of.
DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant.
Yeah, that'd be another one.
And Jared Goff still value too. Like Mike's drafted him late. He's seen him go late, and he don't get no respect. But he's a real good fantasy quarterback, especially if you're waiting on quarterback. If you get lucky to take any of those guys to pair him up with.
Yeah, at the first draft I did, I got Amon-Ra to fall to pick 9, and
that's still.
Yeah, and at that point immediately I decided I'm waiting on quarterback and I'm taking Goff because now I'm in position to put together a really strong Amon-Ra build as far as the other positions go. I didn't think it was at all necessary to take a quarterback early with a falling Amon-Ra. So that's what I did. I ended up with Goff and They did take a second quarterback. I forget who it was, but and the only reason I did is because like Detroit has a fantasy friendly schedule all year, but during the shootout they got that road game in Chicago. I mean, I do expect it to still be somewhat of a shootout, and that game's probably got the division. Like I anticipate that division being on the line in that game. So I don't think it's gonna ding. I mean, it's still a mild concern. Like obviously, if you can pick up a quarterback off the waiver wire, or you draft a good backup with Goff, and they have a nice matchup that week, maybe you flip it. Especially if you're in a shootout, you're sharing quarterbacks. So if you happen to look at the standings and you see a bunch of teams that have Jared Goff above you, then you probably definitely want to pivot in that instance. But I do think that if you do wait to take Jared Goff, to make sure you pair him with somebody that's got some upside, because Jared Goff he benefits from the NFFC score and the 6-point passing touchdown and just being attached to a high-powered offense. But if you get a game script, cold weather game in Chicago, and it's a Jahmyr Gibbs game, and they're shortening it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, catching passes over the middle, and they're utilizing Laporta and stuff like that. I think it's more of a conservative game script, and maybe you want to go in another direction in the shootout for that week. That's the last week as well. So if you got to make a pivot, make sure you draft upside. If you're waiting and you're going with Goff, double tap somebody like Kyler Murray, somebody with some sort of upside that you can plug in if necessary. But,
they also piggyback to what I said a while ago, but Dan and Josh's boys. If that happens, I guess Jamar Chase and Chase Brown goes in the first round too with them two. Brown goes sometimes in the back end. So there's two.
Definitely true.
Teams, the first round.
It just depends on if Paul Spateri's picking 10.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that had anything to do with Paul Spateri. I think it had to do with you guys being where you were.
I think so.
But you can always do like Joe's saying too. I always look at the week 17 schedule whenever you are drafting. Like, okay, this is who I want. You may take that first quarterback before you take Goff. To make sure you got a good matchup in week 17 since he's outside. He always plays better indoors.
Nice. Dan, you got any thoughts on the Lions?
Yeah, I just did some quick math, and if you take Gibbs and Monty's carries and touches, it's 502. And I 100% agree with Mike that Pacheco's just a guy and nothing more. So if Gibbs gets 350, 370 carries,
and you're being nice to Pacheco.
Yeah. So I don't have this answer. I'm just throwing it out there for anybody that's got a smarter brain than me. Where's those 150 touches going to? Are they going to get divvied up with maybe we incorporate Tesla, Laporta gets more? I don't know. So just something to think about. But
I like that you touched on that, Dan, because I'm going to give my answer when it's my turn. But go ahead.
Perfect. I love St. Brown. Me and Josh had a very in-depth conversation yesterday, and I proclaimed that I like him better than JSN. I would take him over JSN. I can almost argue that I'd take him over Puka as well. I know he's safe, but his upside's just as good as everybody else's as well. So I love St. Brown. A little stat for everybody watching: if you're in Scott Fishbowl, Jameson Williams was number 3 in the league last year with 20-yard catches. He had 17. So if you're playing Scott Fishbowl scoring, that's 170 extra points. So J-Mo's fun. I love him in best ball. A little bit tougher. I mean, you just got to play him every week, and he's going to have his ups and downs. You just got to ride that wave. But I agree with everybody else. I think Laporte is a nice value where he's going. And then I think Joey talked about Tesla. He's a true definition of a handcuff wide receiver if there is one. I don't see him having a ton of standalone value myself. But, boy, you're right. If one of those two guys or Laporte even goes down, he could be in for some nice games, and we know he's an end zone threat. So, you get 4 or 5 targets and you get a touchdown, then you're putting up some weekly points. So, I know we've taken him a few times as I think maybe wide receiver 6 or 7. I know we have a Golf St. Brown team where we threw him on there just for some insurance. So, lots of fantasy options, and I'm just kind of curious, where all those, because they can't give Gibbs 400 touches and expect him to last through the Super Bowl. Assuming they're their eyes on the Super Bowl at the end of the year, so they got to reserve him some. So I was hoping they would sign somebody a little better than Pacheco myself, but if you're a Gibbs owner, then I think you're pretty happy to see Pacheco back there myself.
Oh yeah,
I agree with that, Josh. Detroit Lions, us.
The only thing that I have to say is that Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it's been said like 4 times already tonight, he's the most consistent wide receiver, and you know what you're going to get out of him. And like Dan said, and I don't think that Dan's wrong about picking him over JSN, and even hinted around when me and him were talking, possibly at 4, even flirting with taking him over Puka. And everybody forgets, that Puka missed a ton of snaps last year. Every week he missed snaps because he was going to the locker room. There wasn't hardly – we joked about it on Monday nights about him being the kid at recess going to the nurse's office every day because he'd get banged up, but he'd always come back. But he missed snaps. So it's just a matter of time before, But I have this sick feeling in my gut that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to break hearts this year and might just not be what he has been. And I'm still going to take him. I'm with Dan. I'll gladly click the button at pick 5 or 6 with Amon-Ra. But there's just for about 3 weeks now, I'm just like, man, it's just I don't know. I can't shake it. It's something that just makes me feel like Amon-Ra's the guy in the first round this year that could be the heartbreaker. It scares
I don't
me.
know.
Go with him.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. His ceiling
might have to get your sports therapist.
His ceiling
I'm talking about is an injury. Is what I'm talking about.
He's been pretty durable.
He's been so durable, and he's been
one thing also
on days not named Thanksgiving.
One thing also, you probably didn't even realize he's only 26 years old.
Yeah.
That's
he thinks you would think he's 29. He's only 26 years old. So there's a lot of tread on those tires.
Josh, I don't think he's gonna break your heart, buddy.
I don't think so, Josh.
I was gonna say his
only time will tell. But I said, it's just a gut.
The consistency of his sailing games could take a hit. Like last year, I thought he had more spike weeks than he usually has. If you go back,
have you guys taken him yet?
I have him. Yeah, I got him.
We took him at 6 the other night at OC. Got him with Barkley.
So you got what, 1 share? You said.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess it also depends on how healthy Laporta is. Does he take away anything? If Laporta's really fully back to where he's at.
So now I wanted to touch on what Dan brought up, the vacated touches from David Montgomery and the Isaiah Pacheco, Jahmyr Gibbs situation. Now, I'm with you guys. Isaiah Pacheco isn't. Even when he was with the Chiefs, I never targeted him in fantasy football. I thought he was, especially the year he got steamed up, I thought that was stupid by a lot of people. But I mean, how many carries he's going to get? Some. I think I would say probably 100 carries is sounds about respectable.
As a Gibbs owner, I hope he does.
And then if Gibbs goes for 300. We'll just say use 300 as a baseline. That still leaves 103 touches, correct, Dan? You said 503?
502, yep.
Yeah, okay. So my thoughts on this is I think this is where a guy like Jamison Williams is going to benefit more so than Sam Laporta. I think Laporta's injury is serious, even if he seems healthy. I got to see him at 100%. I have a feeling that he's going to start off slow, or they're going to bring him along slow, just because of how complex the offense is. They don't have to force touches to him. I think maybe they use him in the red zone more than anything early on, and then kind of increase his targets as the year goes on. But I think Jamison Williams is the biggest benefactor of David Montgomery leaving town. I don't think you're going to get his. I'm willing to. I'll shotgun a beer or whatever. You guys make me do something stupid, smash a pie in my face or whatever. I don't think Jamison Williams goes through the entire 2026 season without a 0-point game. He doesn't get any. That's what I'm calling that now. I think his usage is going to go up a little bit. He's already been on the field. I mean, he's ran 585 routes. I'm looking at his numbers right now. Number 5 in the league in routes run last year. Number 13 route participation. Number 9 in snap share. He's on the field. So if you take away some of the rushing attempts, maybe he gets a piece of that pie, and I really do think so. He's a big playmaker. You mentioned it, Dan, or maybe Gamberg mentioned it. When they get him involved, that's when they're really, really potent as an offense and can really, be good enough to win the division and make a Super Bowl run. I think he's a key component of that. So I don't have any shares yet. I really like him better as a wide receiver 3 or even as a wide receiver 4. If you can get him as a flex to plug into a heavy wide receiver build, 0 running back if you may, that's probably the best build to toss him in. But I do think that J-Mo is people are scared to draft him because of his volatility. And I think the volatility goes away this year. He was wide receiver 17 in points per game with the zeros. So if he can just eliminate that and be a little bit more involved, and I think he pays off big time. So just wanted to add that, piggyback that off Dan. And I guess that pretty much closes out the Detroit Lions. We've been on them for a few minutes now. We'll jump over to we'll go Green Bay. Josh, why don't you give us some of your thoughts on Green Bay?
I'm interested to see if they open things up for Jordan Love a little more this year. That's probably the first thing for me is if they're going to open things up for Love. I think everybody is excited about Watson. I can't remember if me and Dan's got him yet, but that is somebody that if he's there in the right spot for us, we'd take him. Tucker Kraft, seeing how he looks come training camp and in the preseason, is he all the way healed up? Is he at full speed? Because that's a big deal for them. And I know there's the Josh Jacobs stuff, but I think we probably are all in agreement that they're not going to do anything to him this year. He's going to play unless something new comes out or whatever. If there's anything coming down the line for him, it's probably next year. So he's going to play. But then the third thing for me would be Jaden Reed. The guy's he's so talented, and I feel like he just gets kind of underused. But now that that Wicks is gone and Dubs is gone. You know, hopefully if he can stay healthy, that'll see an uptick in his opportunities to get the ball in his hands.
All right, Dan.
I'm gonna date myself here, but does anybody watch the Austin Powers movies back in the the 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah.
Remember the third one?
It's
The third one,
What gold?
about round 9 or 10, when me and Josh are drafting together, I might scream out, "I love gold," because I think Matthew Golden's one of probably the 3 best picks in the draft of where he's going. Piggyback off what Josh says, Jaden Reed, I'm not the biggest fan of. They just don't seem to use him right. I love Christian Watson, but they're steaming him all the way up to the end of the third, so it's hard to see value there. But where Golden's going, man, I know it's a small sample size at the end of the year in the playoffs there. Man, he looked really, really solid. He's going to be on the field a lot. So I'm really excited about getting him where I get him, especially he's usually like wide receiver 5 or 6 for us. So nice depth there on the bench. Josh hit on this too, but Tucker Kraft, I think, is a really, really nice value right now. And if we do see him running really well in training camp, or if he plays preseason or whatever, I think he's going to go up the board. But he's going as like tight end 8, I think. He's going like right after Kyle Pitts. So the guy was tight end
ADP 89.
He was tight end 1 or 2 when he got hurt. So
right.
Great value there. I know me and Josh took him the other day, and I'm not the biggest. I usually really like to punt tight ends, but I think the value there we couldn't pass up. But kind of sing the same tune there with Josh and all that stuff. But the one guy we don't even talk about when we're drafting is Josh Jacobs. I'm kind of curious to see what you guys have to say about him, because I don't think anything's going to happen. I mean, if you follow some of these guys on Twitter, and Josh, help me, who's at the Dayton, our buddy from Dayton.
Yeah, Drew Davenport.
Drew Davenport, yeah. I mean, he pretty much said that nothing's going to happen to Jacobs. So if that's true where he's going at, I mean, he's the only guy in town. He's probably going to be a good value, but I'm just not interested in Jacobs this year for a couple different reasons. But one more I'll throw out there again. If you want to live dangerously, the first week they play Kyler Murray, the second week they play Geno Smith, and then they go play Michael Penix or Tua. So they're my favorite defense to draft for those first couple weeks.
They got some playmakers on defense. Again, not a smothering defense, a bend but don't break, but they got playmakers. Joey, Green Bay, you got the hat on. Let's go.
These guys.
I'm gonna make you go first on. I'm gonna make you go first on Minnesota because you're in the middle of it. So, but yeah, go ahead.
These guys said everything, like the defense side. I'm sitting there thinking, before Dan said anything, like their schedule's good. But I sit there thinking, okay, Micah Parsons ain't back. Their defense, going back to Josh, they need to turn the training wheels loose and let Jordan Love throw the ball. But I want to go deeper than these guys. I want to see Green Bay's Carolina version of Jonathan Brooks. Is Marshawn Lloyd going to do anything? Late round flyer. I mean, we ain't seen Jonathan Brooks. We ain't seen Lloyd. Everybody's talking, Lloyd's been moving up in the draft. Some of the ones we've seen, he's moved up from 14th, 15th round. So I'm interested to see what he could give you. If Jacobs goes down, just late round flyer. Kraft, he's a good value where he's going. Watson, he's got he was dominant down the stretch last year. He was good. I mean, real good. He's a difference maker. And I had a guy tell me, one of my good buddies, he said, you can't draft him viewing him as a injury-prone player. He said, you got to draft him as a play-to-win pick. That makes a lot more sense to me now. Just don't look at that. If you want to win, go ahead and just draft him with confidence. Injury's going to happen anyway. But that was from a primetime winner, Tommy Libretti, who told me that. So that stuck with me. But I am interested to see what Marshawn Lloyd gives the backfield. Emmanuel Wilson, he's gone too, right? He went to Seattle.
Yep.
So, like I said, it's just a late round pick to throw a dart at. But I do like Love. I'm starting to like him a whole lot more as a, if you draft an early quarterback, take him because he goes, what, 10, 11, 12 round sometimes?
149. ADP
Yeah.
149. That's high. That's beyond the 10th round.
I think we saw him in the 15th in one of the drafts last week.
Yeah.
He was way late. It's just.
And I'm not
he does fall. He falls in some.
I like Golden better than Reed. Also, I think Reed's so talented, but he can't stay on the field. I mean, they've had bad luck with Watson and Reed. So if Golden can get it down, be on the field, and where he goes, he can be a wide receiver 3 on the team. But I do like Golden. He's got a clear path to wide receiver 2 on that team. Well, wide receiver 2 is he'd probably be the third look behind healthy Kraft and Watson. But
right. I think Tucker Kraft is the wide receiver 1, target 1 for sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Him and Watson. Yeah, that's probably true.
Who do we got left? Mike. Mike's gonna brag about his 6th round Jacobs. Go ahead, Mike.
I always share. That's it for I to get him a couple times before I'm not I mean, I like him, but it's just at 6, I usually don't take a running back in the 4th, no matter where. Rarely in the 4th round, the way I've been drafted, but. I like Watson. I got him 5th round 2 times and 1 4th round. He's my 4th wide receiver. As a 4th wide receiver, I think it's a home run. Like Dan mentioned, he's got some steam now. I'm not taking him in the 3rd. I mean, I can tell you that. But I'll look to if he slips, and I'll grab him every time. I think he showed down the stretch. He is the number 1 wide receiver. Guy's got talent. You saw it on display. I do like Lloyd. Like Joey said, we haven't seen him. I remember Theo Grummacher was the first, before he got hurt that one year. A lot of guys were talking him up. The talent.
Oh, his film looks good, Mike. Go back and watch some of his film, dude. He is like a natural look. He is a running back. He's got
the talent. So where you could take him now, I mean, he is creeping up. I mean, and some very good players, the guys that are taking him, and if you can get him in places where those guys, where it's decent value, I definitely look. He's a target. Love is for me. I got him in one place with as a backup, because I got with Watson just as insurance. I just don't. The floor concerns me. I mean, last year they were like the leading team that run 12 personnel,
and they run the ball.
They run the ball. Are they going to? I think it's an opportunity for the wide receivers and Kraft. It should be. And I think Dan meant, I don't have any Golden. It's just I haven't been. Usually, I don't need a wide receiver at that point where he's going, and I have no interest in Reed. Gets hurt. He's just. I think Golden will outperform him anyway. But I like Watson. Really, is Watson, and I do have Kraft. I do like Kraft. I think Kraft is. I think I paired him with a Watson, but I spread it out. I think that's about it. But I don't have. I couldn't go with Love as a starter. I'd be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. I think I agree with that.
I think with LaFleur, it's amazing. In a lot of places, he wouldn't have his job, but I guess they're I guess they're loyal. I don't know, maybe to a fault. I don't know what it is. He hasn't produced, and especially in the playoffs, he's failed. So that's my take on Green Bay.
All right. I'm gonna start by saying I'm gonna read the tea leaves on the situation. Yeah, I think Josh Jacobs is fine. I don't think anything's gonna happen to him. They didn't go out and sign anybody. They didn't try. You haven't heard rumors of them trying to trade for an Arizona running back or any running back for that matter. So I think that's kind of why Marshawn Lloyd has been steaming up a little bit. I think people are starting to realize he is the RB2 there. And if anything were to happen with Josh Jacobs via injury, missing time, or more stuff comes out and he does end up getting suspended or whatever. But this time, for whatever reason, Marshawn Lloyd could step in and have high contingent upside. So he's definitely the handcuff running back I want out of the two. I don't think Chris Brooks brings anything to the table. I think we know what he is at this point. With you guys, Dobbs going, Dontavian Wicks going. I think the offense is more consolidated. I think this could be a sign of things opening up a little bit for Jordan Love. Less of a target tree to work with, maybe simpler offensive play calling. And honestly, I see Green Bay. I think Minnesota bounces back this year, so I kind of see them in Green Bay battling it out for the bottom of this division. So I don't think that we're going to get positive run game scripts for Green Bay all the time. I know LaFleur loves to run the ball, but like I said, just reading the tea leaves and the evidence of the offseason moves, letting two significant pass catches go. They didn't go out and add anybody else. They didn't, they're relying on Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, and Tucker Kraft. I do think Tucker Kraft is the number one option there. He's basically, I'm looking at him as a free square right now. I know his ADP is 89 in the last week, early as pick 70, and he's fallen as far back as 105. But to me, that's a free square, just because of how deep the tight end position is, and just how we, if we punt it, we sometimes can get bailed out by the waiver wire. There's always a tight end that comes from outside the top 12 and ADP that finishes in the top 10 out of nowhere. So I think that's what makes him a great value. He's worth.
There's tight ends right behind him. There's tight ends right behind him that you can trust at the beginning of the season. And if he's not, I don't even
think you need to double tap that quick. I think you can wait and grab somebody like an Okonkwo or
that's what I mean. 4 or 5 rounds later.
What's the guy from Jacksonville? Brenton Strange, Jake Tonjes, Dalton Schultz. There's plenty of fallback tight ends later on. Even if you wanted to go upside, I mean, it's a little more volatile if you go upside and take somebody like Gadsden. Or Sadiq. Sadiq is a good upside swing. I think if you take Tucker Kraft and you want to wait and for a fall, like way late for a fallback tight end, you can also take an upside. Sadiq is a free upside swing at this point in drafts. I mean, we've seen rookie tight ends have immediate impact in the last few years, and just because this guy's on the Jets, we're kind of writing him off. I mean, his ADP is so low. But anyways, we'll talk about that when we get to the Jets. But I don't want to get off.
We'll let Steve talk about the Jets. We're going to hold off on that.
Make that a quick segment.
But my point is, Kraft is like basically a free square, man. It's where he's going. He's worth that gamble all day long. Even if he's gone as early as 70. Even if you take him in the 6th round, I don't think it hurts all that much if you back him up properly. You take the right tight end later on. I think it's the fact that he was the tight end too when he got hurt. And he was a menace. He killed. There were a couple of teams that I had that were real good that still won leagues, and I lost him. So just imagine if I didn't lose him. What those teams maybe could have done, but I know I'm not the only one in that boat. But still, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. I'm with you guys. Golden is a little bit more appealing based on ADP. Plus, we haven't seen Jaden Reed consistently be in 2 wide receiver sets. Anytime they try to increase his volume, we know what happens. He ends up getting hurt. He's got durability issues for sure, so I don't think we see him take on a bigger role. So Matthew Golden by default. It is probably in for some positive regression and showed some signs of a first-round wide receiver. He's currently, in the last week, his ADP's at 107. He's gone as early as 87, and he's fallen as far as 142. So if he's fallen, you got to be all over it, in my opinion. If my instincts are right, and they are going to open it up a little bit more because their pass catches are now consolidated down. The offense is consolidated. Tucker Kraft might be slow out of the gate. Matthew Golden, might be quick out of the gate. Well, we'll see. And then, Christian Watson's always an injury concern. So, the contingent upside is humongous. Although I think if Christian Watson goes down, the entire offense is going to suffer. So maybe it doesn't, it only helps his volume. It probably will hurt his efficiency. But in any instance, just the offense is consolidated. I see better fantasy results for the passing game and the pass catches. Josh Jacobs is Josh Jacobs. I think it's if you believe on him when he's going to fall off. I mean, he's got a lot of tread on his tires for sure. I think he's got over 1,400 career carries. So, it's do you believe in him? We do this every year with Derrick Henry. Not anymore, but like 2-3 years ago, we were all, when's Derrick Henry going to fall off? When's Derrick Henry going to decline? When's he going to, have some regression? And it never happens. So if you believe in Josh Jacobs is that type of an athlete, he is a first round running back as well. And he's put together a few solid seasons. We know he can handle it. All 3 downs. So he's probably more of a value than not. I don't have any shares yet. It's basically just because of the way where I've picked on the board and the builds that I've gone with. It kind of doesn't include Jacobs, but he's not somebody I'm fading. I will take him in the right situation. But that's my my analyzation of the Green Bay Packers this year. I'm banking on more passing. So
yeah, just to put an asterisk beside Jaden Reed, I wasn't saying pick him. I was just saying because with Wicks and Dubs gone, I'm just interested to see, if he gets an opportunity to be on the field a little bit more or not, and be healthy and do anything. And maybe not. Maybe he just is what he is, and that's the end of it. So
I mean, he's going to give you spike weeks.
Yeah,
seen him. I've seen him do a 33 a couple times. So the spike weeks will be there. It's just you got to look at the defense they're facing, and it is I think he shreds zone more than man. So I think he struggles against man as well. So that's you got to look at it from a week to week perspective on when you're going to start him, because if you're drafting him, as a wide receiver 5 most likely, which means you may be flexing him on bye weeks or when injuries happen or getting a jam for whatever reason, or you like that. you get that defense that plays zone more than man, and you anticipate a shootout. Maybe though that's a game where you take a chance on rolling the dice with Jaden Reed in your lineup. But yeah, I feel like every time I want to say he might get more volume, but every time they give him more volume, you know what happens. He always gets banged up. Always.
You all said he's a better best ball player.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think he's that good, to be honest with you. I mean, he came to the forefront in Brazil against the Eagles. He got that 2 touchdowns, and that was when Fangio, the Eagles' defense wasn't the defense that shut out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl that year for 3 quarters. Caught it early. They weren't ready, and that he came to life, and then he disappointed after. Basically, he had his moment in the sun, and he's been hurt, and he's been inconsistent. I don't target him at all. I mean, like I said, if I get a chance and Golden's there, and I need a wide receiver, I think that's the guy to get the second besides Watson. I mean, that's my opinion.
Looking at their playoff schedule, they have Miami at home in Week 15, Chicago on the road Week 16, and then the Houston Texans at home in Week 17. So that doesn't not really that fantasy friendly. I think if Miami is as bad as we all think they're going to be, we could see LaFleur run the ball. I think it could be a conservative approach in that one. At Chicago. Depending on where Green Bay is at in the running for the division, if they're still in contention, and then again, it's at Chicago late in the season, tough environment. In Week 17, Houston, we know Houston's got the best defense in the league, probably. It is at home, at least they don't have to go to Houston, but still, nonetheless, pretty ugly looking shootout schedule.
So the Bears get Green Bay Week 16 in Chicago, and then they get the Lions in Chicago Week 17.
Yep.
Nice.
That's good for them, right? That's good for Chicago's shootout schedule. Steve in the chat saying he misses the fellas.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. Dan and Josh, you guys got to help me out with the chat now that you can highlight it. I gave you these powers. Not always paying attention to it.
Steve says he'll be back. He'll be back one day.
July 20th, he said, right after July 20th.
Yeah, I was trying to tweet him last night that the countdown was on, but it wouldn't. For some reason, it wouldn't go through. But yeah, he's got about 10 or 11 more days. We expect to see him back on here.
He'll report the training camp.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. All right, we got one more team in this loaded division, Minnesota Vikings. Joey, I said I was going to start with you, and then I'm going to go to Mike because neither one, Dan rather. Dan, Joey and Dan are going to go first and second on this one because they've been in the middle.
It's a very interesting offense. Kyler Murray's probably a better fantasy quarterback than he is real life, so he's worth a shot. And then Hawkinson is basically free too. I mean, he's where he goes at. He's worth a gamble also where he goes. And then Jefferson, I like him in the middle of the round back in, 2 years ago? Number 1 overall pick for a while. So, I mean, and then Addison's viable. And then I like the addition of Jawan Jennings too. I mean, that gives them another red zone threat. Running game's pretty average, Jones, Mason, and the rookie, Claiborne. I really like we'll see what O'Connell can do with Kyler Murray. I think he's got a long leash. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's the answer. I think they're seeing that too. I think that's why they brought him in. But it's going to be a good offense to have. I think so. I think just a fun fantasy division, for the most part. So, but I do I like Jefferson a whole lot too. Like I said, especially if I'm building in the back, I wouldn't care to start out. I've not got him yet. I'd like to get a share of him before it's over with.
I got one.
Just to see.
I took him at pick 11. I think it was pick 11.
Yeah, we got him in the second round.
Oh, that's even better. So, who'd y'all take it? Hampton and Hampton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good
mean, they
start.
basically could have flip-flopped either way. But we knew if we didn't take Hampton at 11, we knew who was drafting 12, and he was going to take him. So we had to take him there, and we figured Jefferson would slide back.
But do y'all like the addition of Jawan Jennings there? What do y'all think about him? I mean, that's
I just don't like the addition of Kyler Murray that
Yeah,
much.
that's-
But it is what it is. It's better than J.J. McCarthy. So
Yeah, remember how good Jalen Naylor did in that spot last year? I felt like, I don't know, maybe he scored 4 or 5 touchdowns.
he did.
He
And
was
Jawan
annoying.
Jennings is a much better receiver in my opinion, but can Kyler get the ball to the 4th read there?
Do y'all think
Do
Kyler
you-
runs any this year?
Do you see Jennings playing outside or in the slot?
He's more slot. That's what Naylor
Yeah.
made those big plays for touchdowns. Totally,
I think it might open things up for Addison even more. I think we're
Yeah.
undervalued. I think we're undervalued with Addison a little bit. Dan, why don't you give us your thoughts on the Vikings?
Yeah, for sure. I preface this by saying if somehow McCarthy wins this job, I want 0 to do with this
Yeah.
team. So we're just going to assume Kyler Murray's winning the job, which I think is safe to say. We like Justin Jefferson as well, Joey, on the backside there. When you're getting, I love picking 10, 11, 12, and I can either get him or CD with Hampton or Chase Brown or take your pick there. I like any combination of those guys. But when I click Jefferson, I close my eyes and I just click it because I just remember that he's one of the 2 best receivers in the league, talent-wise. And if he had a better quarterback, he'd be going up there with Gibbs and Jamar Chase and Bijan. But talent's not lacking there at all. So I think he'll bounce back. If I remember right, he had 2 touchdowns last year, which is insane to say. So you got to think he's coming back, towards at least 7 or 8 or 9 this year. So, like Jefferson. I'm intrigued by Addison and Jennings. Jennings, he sits on that number 1 ADP spot for 6 or 7 rounds, and nobody wants to take him. And I think he went like in the 15th or 16th of my last OC, and I'm just thinking that could be a steal, but once again, I'm kind of scared of the quarterback play there. But I'll tell you one guy that I really like drafting on the Vikings, and it's just not very sexy, but I keep taking Jordan Mason as my 4th running back. Aaron Jones, I think, is 33. Somebody wants to correct me if I'm wrong there. But I think he's the starter. But Mason, just like last year, he put together about a 5 or 6 game stretch where he was pretty startable. I know he had a couple duds there at the end, but I like Jordan Mason, especially if you're punting. Maybe you have a Gibbs, Bijan, and then you're not taking a running back for 5 or 6 or 7 rounds. I don't mind putting Mason in as my running back 3 or something like that. So that's an interesting pick. And I too, Joey, I'm intrigued by Hockenson. I haven't taken him at all. I've seen some really good high-stakes players taking him as their second tight end. And we're only a few years removed of him being, a top 3 tight end in the league. So,
Well, he's going like a 18th, 19th round. Something.
Yeah. We know Kyler can get him the ball, but remember he could never get McBride the ball in the end zone. That was his biggest.
Right.
So that's the thing I worry about. But, yeah, an interesting team with a lot of questions. Let's hope Kyler Murray wins the job. I never thought I'd say that in a million years. But he's not one of my favorite players, I can tell you. He burned us pretty hard last year in a couple leagues. That we had really good rosters with Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison on it that just bit the dust with those two.
You didn't go out and grab Jacoby Brissett?
At that point, I think the damage was already done. I don't think we did have Brissett on one of them, I think.
My auction team had a Kyler Murray, Trey McBride stack, and I went out and got Jacoby Brissett, and it saved me, and I won. I still won the league.
So we paired him with J.J. McCarthy, so we were fine, honestly. I blame Jerry in Vegas for talking us into that.
We had Kyler. Let's rewind back. We had Kyler Murray on a couple really good teams, which also had J.J. McCarthy on it.
We just couldn't get the quarterback.
Turns around and makes it not very good teams.
We played the waiver wire, I think, a lot on those teams.
Yeah.
But the one had 4 alpha receivers. We just couldn't get the quarterback right.
You didn't get Brissett. That's one saving grace on a good team I had.
I think if I remember right, we had Cam Ward too.
And I got Brissett that saved that really saved the team and let it.
Now that we think about it, those rosters sucked.
They were terrible. Who drafted that shit, Josh? That wasn't me.
Oh, man.
Nice. All right, who hasn't gone yet? Mike, talk to us about the Vikings, brother.
Yeah, I mean, you start. I mean, I do like Jefferson. I've taken him twice, basically. First wide receiver, late second round, where those guys are talking about towards 10 and 11.
I think it was 10. I think I took him at 10 too.
I took him at 10 and 11.
Oh.
And I think he's. I don't know how much of my, like a 18% or whatever right now. I'll look at it. I mean, obviously, he'll get steam if things look, in training camp and what have you. You get good reports because he is like Josh said, or Dan said, he is a major talent. I mean, he's right there. He's not Chase, but he's probably the best route runner in the league, without question. So that's where he makes. That's how he makes his makes hay. I think Joe, you mentioned softly. I mean, Addison is the guy who's a major talent. I think, who I've taken also twice. As a right now as a depth wide receiver, but I think he's got big talent, and Connor's a great, he's a great offensive mind. It didn't show that last year. Obviously, I don't think anybody would have looked bad with McCarthy, and obviously everything goes out the window if McCarthy starts. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be thrilled with that. But Addison is the guy I like. Jennings, I don't know. I'm not. He's not I don't think he's going to get the type of receiver he is. He's not going to get that kind of volume like the role he had in San Francisco when he did excel for a limited time. Hockenson, I do like. I mean, he's like late, and as a backup tight end with he definitely has upside. And he kind of stayed healthy. He kind of stayed healthy last year, and he didn't get it. He couldn't get anything going because of the quarterback. When he finally stayed healthy.
You guys want to know something about T.J. Hawkinson and me? He's been a lifetime fade. I never had one share of him ever, and I still won't. I could go my whole life without having him on my fantasy football team, and I could care less. That's how I feel about T.J. Hawkinson.
He's a secondary. I mean, he's not going to take him.
There's so many other tight ends I'm looking at. I'm not even glancing my eye.
He's an upside guy. I mean, those guys. I mean,
it could be a mistake. We'll see.
He does got the Iowa thing going for him. All these Iowa tight ends has always been pretty good.
I'm not with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and the signing of Juwan Jennings. no way Kyler Murray makes Hawkinson fantasy relevant. That's kind of how I see it. I think it's the wide receivers, if anything.
Could be right.
I don't think Juwan Jennings is going to be fantasy relevant, but I do think he helps the offense. He's a chain mover. We know Brock Purdy leaned on him to get first downs, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 13. Juwan Jennings was the guy to pick up most of those first downs. He had a lot of 4 catches for 65-yard type games. I think could be looking at something similar here in Minnesota. I think he opens up things for Jordan Addison, though. I think Addison is the most mispriced player in this offense. I think, first of all, I think the whole offense is mispriced for fantasy in fantasy drafts. I think Aaron Jones is basically a free square. I don't see. I have a couple shares of him. I don't see why he's fallen that late. He is the starting running back. I do know Jordan Mason is decent when he gets his opportunity, but as long as Aaron Jones is healthy, I don't know. They probably vulture each other a little bit, but based on game script, I kind of like Aaron Jones a little bit more. Jordan Mason doesn't catch any passes. So if I'm thinking that this team is going to be in more competitive games than playing with the lead, then Aaron Jones is probably a little bit of a value. I mean, just got to pray he stays healthy. Obviously, you're not drafting him as a starter. So, but I do want to mention Minnesota's shootout schedule. Let me bring it up here. Where is it? Here we go. So their schedule in general is pretty decent, but at the end, from week 15 on, it gets real nice, fantasy friendly. We got at home versus Detroit, at home against Washington, and then on the road week 17 against the Jets. I think that's 3 fantasy friendly games for sure. They're going to have to keep up with Detroit. Washington could have a real good offense and a subpar defense. And at New York Jets. I mean, where are the Jets going to be at that point in the year? Could they be getting better? Who knows? With their young foundation, maybe they are a team that's playing with nothing to lose. It could be a trap week 17 or not. I mean, if Minnesota's playing for something and the Jets aren't, then I would expect Minnesota to take care of business in week 17, to be honest with you. So I love the shootout schedule on Minnesota. So that's another reason to take some of these free squares. Jordan Addison has got an ADP of 102 in the last week. He's gone as early as pick 83, and he's fallen as far as pick 124. So that's a free square. That's a free upside square in my eyes. You draft him as your wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, even. And if he ends up being the beneficiary of the Juwan Jennings signing, like I think it's going to be the factor. And I'm in on Kyler Murray in the passing game. I think that Kyler Murray is stepping into a much better situation than he was in Arizona. I know he had pieces in Arizona. He had Marvin Harrison, but he had Marvin Harrison young. Struggled as a separator. So if he's not getting open, Kyler Murray's not forcing the pass. Trey McBride, he had some chemistry with, but he really never put it all the way together. We could see that as soon as Jacoby Brissett came in, Trey McBride kind of broke fantasy last year as a tight end. So I think that the Arizona offense is significantly less talent, less of a good thing for Kyler Murray than Minnesota. I think Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, Juwan Jennings, even TJ Hawkinson is a major upgrade. So in on Kyler is going pick 136. He does go as high as 87. but he also falls to 180. So he's all over the place. You could easily stack him. I don't have any shares yet, but I'm telling you now that I will have some shares. I'm going to be targeting some drafts. I've already been experimenting with putting possible lineups together with targeting him as a quarterback. Obviously, I'm going to target somebody else. I'm not going to go naked Kyler. But I love him as an upside pick. His top 10, career points per game as a quarterback, fantasy points per game. So I think he's in for a bounce back if he could stay focused and stay healthy. I think the whole offense is being undervalued. Love Justin Jefferson at the end of round 1. I think Addison's mispriced. I think he outperforms his ADP. Again, Juwan Jennings, not necessarily fantasy relevant, but he's a key piece of that offense to unlock some other things. And nobody mentioned the rookie Claiborne. I like him as a stash because if Aaron Jones goes down, Jordan Mason does not catch passes. So Claiborne will have a role for sure. Just a contingent upside. He's worth a late round draft pick as a stash. And be patient with him, on dropping him. Hold him as long as you possibly can. Only drop him if Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are still healthy and eating up all the touches, and you need the roster spot for whatever reason. But I would be trying to stashing him as long as possible. And that's it. I think I covered everybody. You guys know my thoughts on TJ Hawkinson, so.
It's a contract year for Kyler. This is his opportunity to win a big contract, and there's not been a ton of positive things said about him in the past by coaches and things like that. So he's got a great opportunity with O'Connell, and if he's mature enough and going after it to Mike said that something about is Kyler going to run. I mean, I think if this is your opportunity and you've got, like Joe was saying, basically as for the team as a whole, the offense as a whole, you've got an upgrade here. He's got a great chance to do better with a much better head coach for the QB position. Then he needs to go out there and ball out, and he can have a big payday because of it. Maybe it's not with Minnesota, or maybe it is. I don't know. But I mean, I feel like as far down as he's going in drafts, you throw the dart on him and, see what happens, especially when you can get Jefferson all the way up here and you can get Kyler all the way down towards the bottom of the draft. That's that to me, I just feel like that's easy, and it's not a matter of being in on Kyler. It's just throwing the dart.
Are there any video games coming out this year?
Yes, Call of Duty will be out in November, I believe. So that would be a good time.
Make sure you bench him November, December then.
You know what? Somebody's going to step in and tell Kyler he's not allowed to play that game until he signs his new contract.
Oh, shit.
When you watch him, I swear he kills me watching him because it's like he plays so fast. If he would just slow down and play, he'd probably be a lot better.
His little feet.
Yeah, he's just
like
this.
Looks like Pacheco out there. He's the quarterback Pacheco.
But I will want to ask y'all this though, just before we get off here. I'm sitting here looking at the first round. It's not that he can move up much. You know how people overreact. Heck, I've done it too. What if we see a touchdown in a preseason game? First preseason, does Jefferson move up to 6 or 7 consistently? And I mean, he's going 10 average right now in the football guys.
In the NFFC,
you don't have people overreact. I mean, that first touchdown.
How many plays is he going to? These a lot of times the starters don't even take snaps.
But I mean, it's not. I don't even know that
he's already gone. He's already gone 8th, Joe.
They don't really play him anymore. These guys.
I got the ADP pulled
I don't
up
know
from
if
the last week.
Minnesota's that type of team, but I know.
I mean, are you going to take
If you see any chemistry,
Jefferson or Puka? You taking Puka or Jefferson?
well, I think you have to go with
Taking
Stafford.
all day.
So then you've got
Matthew Stafford.
you got JSN
He can
or
leave it at
Jefferson.
7.
Yeah, you're taking that right now. Yeah.
So then
I don't
if
think
you're
his team's
paying
there.
7, then it's Genty. Take the upside with Genty, who could be RB1, or you taking Jefferson. So I
But
think
we've seen those receivers get pushed up when we get to Vegas every year.
guys that want the
But you know, I'm
late
gonna say
I'll
those
years,
are-
tell you what,
if you don't have your share,
Mhm.
then you could see Justin Jefferson go number 1 overall because hey, it's the Saturday of opening weekend, and I don't have Justin Jefferson yet, and I landed the number 1 pick 3 times. I'm getting my Justin Jefferson share. We've seen it out there in Vegas.
He's been number 1 pick, 2 years ago?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
Yeah,
I'm not
so
necessarily
I'm
saying,
not
I'm
going to
saying
say
this
right,
year,
right,
like
yeah.
I think it was last year. We saw somebody crazy go at pick 1. Like we weren't even nobody was expecting it. And it was like
Somebody played good
whoever-
on Thursday night.
No,
Oh.
it's just somebody that was normally going like 5 or 6. Maybe it was Amon-Ra. I can't remember who it was, but somebody pulled somebody way up and took him at number 1 in one of the drafts on Saturday out in Vegas. So, I mean, guys are going to get their guys, but I think that for me, you're probably looking at Jefferson at 8 being the highest.
Yeah, could be.
I like Genty too, like you said. I think he's got a lot of potential.
I think Genty has a range to go as high as 6, just because of how many good running backs there are in the first half of the second round that they can, you could pair him with. So he's got a wide range. He's going to be 10, 11, 12, but he's also could go as high as 6, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's it, boys. We covered the NFC North. This was a pretty good show, if you ask me. I thought it was. We dropped a lot of good info. Want to shout out the chat: Steve, Jay Wimmers, Albert. I don't know who else was in there. Everybody tuning in on X. Go over to YouTube, hit the like button. If you want to listen to it again, you can get us the YouTube view. That'll help us out as well. But at least go over and hit the like button. It takes barely any effort. If you're not subscribed to Fantasy Savvy YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. Last time I checked earlier today, we're at 985, so we're just 15 subscribers away from the big 1,000. We want to, we hit that, we're going to have a nice little toast. And, we appreciate Steve for letting us take over his channel without him and run these shows for you guys. Appreciate everybody in the audience that tunes in. Hope that you guys take something away from this. Helps you out in your fantasy football drafts. Next week, we're going to cover we'll go with the AFC North for you guys. We'll get some Bengals in there. We're going to save the AFC East for when Steve comes back. We want Steve to talk about his Jets, and we want him to argue about I got to argue with Steve about the Bills and Patriots and all that. We need Steve here for the AFC. So we'll go AFC North next week. We haven't decided a day yet. I don't know what day works for you guys. Wednesday. It'll be either Wednesday or Thursday. We'll discuss it in the group chat, and then we'll figure it out. But plan on it being a Wednesday or a Thursday, probably around the same time, 9:30. AFC North. Guys have anything else to add? Dan, Josh,
Yep.
You want to pitch your show Monday night? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, Monday night we're going to get into the middle rounds of the draft. So a couple different strategies on builds. I think me and Dan are hoping to jump in on a draft at some point this weekend. So we're gonna do that. We may look at the draft if we're able to get in one this weekend, and then like I said, we're gonna talk about a couple different ways to build through the middle rounds, and then we'll probably get into all of these text messages between Dan and Stefan Diggs. So other than that, we'll just see what's.
I will say on our phone call yesterday about the show. Yeah, I said that to Josh earlier. We talked about flex players. We're going to talk about flex players Monday night and some quarterbacks, double tapping those. And Josh said the word kicker, and I hung up the phone because I'm not talking about no damn kickers, Josh.
I can't talk about kickers, but he's talking about.
We're gonna bring Hoff on, and we'll have a good show about kickers.
Yeah, we might be talking about at least one kicker out there. We'll leave it at that.
Nice. All right, so that's it, Mike. Mike, you got anything to add?
No.
Nice. When you
He's
drafted
still thinking
again,
about Diggs.
when you drafted again, Mike.
I don't know. I drafted last night. I was.
Oh, you did.
It was 11. 11. I made 12. Where did I go at the?
Mike's the one that sneaks in at the end.
When it's red, you just got to hit it. You just got to go.
Yeah, I saw 11. That's when I got my first Bauer shares. I was pretty happy.
I bought one yesterday at TBD because they had that $25 promo. So I bought one. I don't know when I'm gonna use it, but I got it sitting there. Be drafted. I'm gonna hammer August.
Really draft this weekend.
Hammer in August.
Getting one or getting the next Saturday.
Yeah.
Probably.
We'll be shooting for probably Saturday, 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock, won't we, Josh? Maybe
Saturday or Sunday.
I'm waiting for these night owls to start getting going. That'll happen soon.
I'm asleep. I like when the Sunday day ones come back.
The matinees.
The days of me being up at midnight on Saturday or any night of the week is about over.
I mean, I need to.
I'm past my bedtime right now.
What is it, Mike? You got about 8 or 9 bullets set back. You got 8 or 9 teams you can just click on and jump in, don't you? You got 8 or 9 more teams to do so far at the OC?
Probably going to be more.
Hey,
it's all fun and games till Wednesday night.
I think I got 7. I think I got 7 to be determined.
If somebody's watching that has never put money on the NFC platform and played anything, I think they've got up to $100 deposit match right now. Yeah, if you're a first time user, and there's that could get you in 8 $25 best balls, that can get you in $50 best balls, or guillotine. And how much is your OC qualifiers, Joey? Those
50.
Those are 50.
Yeah.
And are the qualifiers? Are they set it and forget it, or you gotta set your
lineup? It's third round reversal and everything.
And so it's just like the OC. You got to play it all year long.
You win, you get maybe $50 and a OC. I think
it's a good way to get started, though.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you don't want to sink the 350 the team, you take some shots on.
This is the first year I've not done no NFFC 25s. I said I'm just throw money away because I try to draft like a redraft team all the time. So
it's tough. I did a lot last year. I was pretty successful, but I hate the fact that they're not third round reversal. So they're good practice, but not really.
But you guys got
the OCs that the qualifiers aren't.
No, the $25 and $50 best balls are not third round reversal.
Oh, they're 30. Okay,
they're 30 rounds. So quarterbacks get shoved up, and it's kind of weird. But I've done 8 or 10 so far, just for fun.
You all did good on one of them last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did 25, and I got first in like 7 maybe, and I had one in the top 20 maybe overall, top 15.
Nice. There was one year I had a NFFC 25 high up. I didn't win anything, but it was high up in the standings overall.
I did well in the FFPC, the 125 best ball, and I you
gotta come in the top 5 to win and they give away.
I got it just for next year or something. I won. It was, I forget what it was.
But you
got
win, I think, 200 if you win your league.
I
Yeah,
did
I
win
won
that. I
one of
won the
those
league.
before. Yeah. I don't know how.
Pretty good way. I think it was last year, or the year before. I can't.
To
But
me,
I
it's
always
all
play
about
one of
just
them. I'm
getting the
not a
right. You got to get the right build. You got to have the right
best build
amount
guy,
of kickers and
with
Ds.
DraftKings. I just,
No injuries.
Hit
Yeah.
those lottery tickets. I did my second Millie Maker today. 2 Millie Makers. But, it's
Nice.
it's their lottery tickets, really. I mean, I like the teams. I mean, I get 4 good wide receivers. You get Watson in the 4th round, or Waddle in the 4th round.
What's that? The FFPC? Is
No,
that
the
the FFPC?
DraftKings.
Oh, DraftKings. Oh, the
So-
best ball.
Yeah, the
Just-
best ball. I mean, I just get in there, and they're filling quick now.
Yeah.
So I got the patience.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience a month or two ago, and they don't. You sit there with even the Millie Maker. You're sitting there, it doesn't fill. I'm not waiting 10 minutes. Let alone 2 minutes. It's got to. They're filling pretty quick now.
Nice. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate you guys coming on, dropping your knowledge as always. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Next week, Wednesday or Thursday, haven't decided yet. We'll post something on X, sure, as soon as we figure it out. AFC North next week. Tune in. Fantasy Savvy YouTube channel. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Share if you want. We appreciate anybody that does that. So until next time, hope you all crush your drafts this week. See you all next week.